Labour leader Sir Keir Starmer, he joined Max Rushton and Charlie Baker on TalkSport earlier today, just down the corridor from us. He gave his thoughts on the Rwanda vote in the Commons earlier this week, and here's a clue. It mentions Arsenal, of course, for a Rwanda reason.
I wanted to ask you a question about Rwanda. It's in the news this week about asylum seekers being sent there, and it went through Parliament. It's still got to go through the Lords. And correct me if I'm wrong here, my understanding is that the Supreme Court in the UK, British judges said asylum seekers were not safe in Rwanda. And I wonder, in a footballing sense, and maybe this is too tangential or too big a jump, do you feel uncomfortable that when you go to the Emirates you see Visit Rwanda on the sleeves of the Arsenal
I thought this might be coming up. The Supreme Court, so that's our highest court, the best judges that we've got, all looked at the evidence of what happens to asylum seekers who are processed in Rwanda and decided 5-0, all 5 judges, that it was unsafe for people to be sent there. And that was the ruling of the court. Now, Arsenal obviously got Visit Rwanda on their shirt, but that is I mean, you know, visiting Rwanda on a voluntary basis.
Have you visited Rwanda?
I haven't.
No. But despite all the constant being told to visit Rwanda.
Well, the only people that go to Rwanda from here are Home Secretaries, I think. But that's the only person the Prime Minister's actually managed to get to Rwanda. But look, Rwanda has cost us £400 million already not to send anyone to Rwanda. Nobody wants these boats coming across the channel. That's got to be stopped. I very strongly feel that the way to stop them is to stop the gangs that are putting them in the boats in the first place. Before I went into politics, I was the chief prosecutor, so I ran the prosecution service for England and Wales for 5 years, and we had to take down gangs that were doing terrorist conspiracies, that were doing drugs and gun running across borders. It's not dissimilar, and we managed to take those gangs down. I will never accept that the people that are running this vile trade of putting in people into small boats can't be taken down by law enforcement, and that's where I'd put my political
practically try and change it
capital.
Still with me. I mean, Arsenal, Rwanda, it's kind of pretty hard. That 400 million.
It's an election year, Nick.
Actually, it's just thinking about it. 400 million. Okay, it is a lot of money, and I've been very flippant here. I must have had some strong coffee this morning. But is that about a week's wage bill at Arsenal? I mean, it makes it quite cheap, really, isn't it? You know, there you go. Keir Starmer, you know, obviously he's out politicising, showing he's a man of the people here with Arsenal on his sleeves and so forth. But Rwanda, whatever Keir Starmer says, he's got an open goal. Using the football analogy, the Tories were just shambolic over it, weren't they? I can't find a decent thing to say about it.
I didn't actually go. I didn't really do any commentary on it. I found I just find the whole thing very painful, very difficult to watch. I fail to get excited about it. I'm afraid it's not an issue.
Well, I'm with you on that.
And it gets me exercised, really. So
yeah, but you see, on this show last weekend, I said this is all hyped up. People are going to vote against the amendments, but they are going to back the bill. Stop getting excited.
Yeah,
and
you were
got
right.
It absolutely right. But the truth of the matter is, what I still don't quite understand is my strategy all along was, when I was asked, I said, right, if he's going down this road, Tories and the Commons just get behind it, right, and let the Lords destroy it. And whatever they do, I mean, they're not going to vote against it, but they're going to do their best to destroy it and hold it up. I said, you've got the classic Cummings sort of response then. It's me and the people versus Labour, the Lords, the establishment. I think he's kind of waking up to that opportunity now, because he did this weird press conference, Joe. What was that all about? It was like telling the Lords not to frustrate the will of the people, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was absolutely about sort of pitting the House against the chambers against each other, essentially, which is dangerous. I mean, people are very quick to rubbish the Lords, and I used to work.
I'm a huge fan of it.
I was a press officer many years ago, and I can remember for the Conservative opposition in the House of Lords.
Okay.
There was a guy called Lord Strathclyde, was the leader of the opposition at the time, and there were people that I worked with there. There are lords and ladies no longer with us who died after sort of these lengthy sessions. One had a heart attack on the street outside after one of these mammoth sittings, didn't finish till about 3 or 4 in the morning.
Gosh.
But these were people for whom they were exercised about issues and they did care and they had life experience.
And they were not experts, but they were more informed than probably the vast majority of MPs on any single given issue.
And they also didn't worry about being up for re-election, so deciding to change their tune on something. I think the interesting thing with the interview that Keir gave today, it's exactly where I've always sat on this issue, which is why have we not been able to spend the money and get the resources with law enforcement to stop the gangs in the first place? We know that that is where the majority. Well, I don't understand how we can't. I mean, I don't know how to do it. I'm not an expert, but it is beyond me that there is a pattern. Everyone talks about the way, the types of vessels that are used, the timings of when these crossings happen. I can't see that it's that difficult to actually, infiltrate the gangs and stop them so that these people do not make the crossings at all. That's got to be a better option than this whole, well, we'll wait for you to come, we'll then fly you somewhere else, and all this process that we're going through. Surely there has to be a better system, but I don't understand why it hasn't been pursued properly. It just seems bizarre.